I think it's tricky because you don't want to get into like the victim blaming stuff because that's totally not helpful and not real. But I think it is hard to talk about the like objectification of women in gender constructs without talking about the complicity that women have in it to some degree.
Yeah, that's actually fascinating. I TA'd a human sexuality class at Harvard when Tip Drill came out. So I read so many papers about it, it was a piece of media, and I had never seen it. I was like, "What is this?" And then I was like, "Ah!" Yeah. So not as bad as Megan, maybe, but so what's fascinating to me is in a lot of the papers and kind of critiques of basically the video hoe, the icon of the video hoe. What's fascinating to me is that that's a role that involves some kind of status. Do you know what I mean? Why would women be in these videos? There's actually, there have been articles written where people are like, I'm going to do this for a video shoot and see what it feels like. Why are other women there? And I feel like women receive a certain amount of validation, either monetary validation or a validation that they're hot in some way, or a validation by being around fame and power, and
but so in that case, shouldn't countering rape culture and those gender constructs have more focus on changing women's attitudes on that's not a good thing that furthers women as equals and gender equality and that counters rape culture?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on how much ownership individual women feel over their imagery, and whether those women are seen as people or props, and when I worked at UW Milwaukee, we had a sexuality series that we sponsored. I advised a peer education group that was similar, and they wanted to bring, I'm completely blanking on her real name, which is terrible. Context.
Superhead? Carrie Steffens.
Thank you.
Like that.
So they really wanted to bring Carrie Steffens, who is colloquially known as Superhead, who essentially, and we had a huge discussion about is it feminist, is it sex positive to bring someone who is basically known primarily for appearing in this kind of media and having sex with male rap stars, right? That's her whole claim to fame. And she has a book, she's kind of built her own empire out of doing that. And we had a big discussion, is she empowered? That was the big discussion. Yeah. Is she empowered? Can she authentically choose to represent herself as a sex object? Have sex with famous men, basically, and write about it or tell about it, and essentially become famous for being very sexual. Her nickname Superhead is because she supposedly is great at giving blowjobs, right? And she was extremely proud of that. This is what I'm known for. And people will say the same thing. I own a feminist sex toy store, right? So there's a constant debate about feminist pornography. Can women in pornography ever be empowered? Or are they always objects? And I think it's very difficult to draw I think it's easy to look at a video where you don't know any of the women and kind of say how could women make this individual choice? I think it becomes more difficult if you have women who are speaking. Do you know what I mean? And kind of saying, I feel like I had some hand in crafting my own image. I choose to be in an industry, or I choose to, use my sexuality in this way, and like a lot of female porn stars will be like, I love sex, like I love voyeurism, like I totally get off on like exhibitionism and the whole thing, you know what I mean? And who am I, like, can I deny that that's true for them? Do you know what I mean? Like it's.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
and that's what frustrates me,
Yeah.
right? Is if it is a choice, why are they making a choice that like supports this larger culture of violence? You know, that like helps it exist. In the same way that like I get super frustrated when I go to the keg, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I see like my peers, my friends, like my girls walking around in heels, like drunk as hell, right? Like I know what's gonna happen later in that night, and I'll probably hear about it the next morning from those same girls, like full of regret, remorse, and like self-hate.
Well, see, to me, that is the crux of the issue, because how can anyone determine whether something is an authentic expression of someone's sexuality or not? So if someone is expressing like regret the next day, then do they feel like they can only behave in this way? You know, like the only way that you can be a woman or a sexual woman is to, I don't know, be in a smang video,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean? Like, is that like the only outlet you have, or do you?
But how would anyone feel that way, Laura? Do you know, like how we are in such control of our sexuality and such control of like the way that we perform our femininity? Like those are our decisions to make and like choices.
Well, the thing is that I feel like we receive a lot of cultural scripts about, it's like you grow up, like my almost 4-year-old niece is totally into pink and Disney princesses right now. Like I'm making her a pink dress over there. I'm like, pink? No! Like every stitch, no!
Yeah.
Where the hell did she get that? You know, because I've been making gender neutral clothes for that girl since she was born, you know. So like, what is this, like an authentic pink loving, or has she already absorbed all these cultural messages that the way to be a girl is to wear pink and love Disney princesses? And I really do not know.
I don't buy that though.
And am I complicit because I'm making the pink dress? You know,
and then it's still your choice to make her that dress.
Right.
You know, like culture happens all around us. We get messages every day. Like we read, we watch movies and music videos and all that stuff. But like in the end, especially like as intelligent, empowered young women, like it's our decision to make. You know, like the way that we represent ourselves in the world is completely up to us. And we do not have to buy into the messages either.
That is true.
Yeah, but I just feel like it's like a snowball effect, where like I understand that like yes, in an ideal world we all could just decide, well, I recognize that these movies are telling me this, and I recognize these videos, but I have my own. I'll just choose to do this. But I think that like you just kind of are like socialized into this world, and you can't really. I think the reason I said snowball effect is because like once all of your peers are doing something, if you're the only person that decides to like, I'm gonna do something my own way, or I'm gonna try to ignore it, you can't. It's like a lose-lose.
Why? Why would that be a bad thing if you were the one to make the conscious decision that like ends up making you a healthier, happier person?
I mean, like I can see that you are really confident and with your own ability to do that, to make